Darn. Alright, another installment for the bitch blog. Okay, so today I was going to focus on photo stuff in Second Life, and no, I'm not an expert or anything. In fact, I have friends on my list that are like, I don't know, I look at their stuff and to me they're just like 20 times better than I am. But I try my best, but I've noticed some of my friends sometimes post things on Facebook. And they are great pictures, but sometimes, and I've heard a few of them complain about how scratchy and, you know, pixelated some of the pictures look. And I remember when I used to do that all the time, and it frustrated me so bad, and I kept thinking it was a graphics card issue and things like that. And then later, a friend of mine, Barb, she told me that not all of it was my graphics card thing. In fact, a good portion wasn't. I will be posting some pictures that show the difference between like the different settings that I'm going to show, sort of, what the pictures come out like, kind of, because, you know, a lot of times the Second Life default will set you on one of the lowest settings there is, in both the default viewer and the Firestorm viewer, and I think in others too. And then you have to go in and adjust, and if you don't realize you need to adjust, yeah, you kind of end up with pictures that turn out a little grainy, a little scratchy. They have all these little pixelated edges. And you're like, why the hell does my pictures come out like that? What's going on? Well, I was told that had a lot to do with these settings that I'm going to show. Let me get that down there. And this is usually, you know, like in Firestorm, this is what you see. And I have mine set to disk because I have it saved to my computer rather than saved to in-world, mostly because sometimes I'll take like a bunch of pictures just to get different angles, and some will come out right, some won't, and I rather, you know, upload them later if I want them in Second Life, and then pay, you know, 10 lindens a piece for the ones that actually, you know, I really like and look good, than, you know, a bunch of crappy ones on top of it. So, I mean, hell, I pay enough lindens for my textures that don't always come out right, and I have a crappy texture sometimes, and I'm having to pay 10 lindens, and it's like, well, crap. So, usually people end up starting off at like the 640 or the 320, and you see how it crops the area on the screen. The 320 is, I mean, it literally comes out to the smallest you can possibly get. Let me see. Where did I put that? Yes. It'll come out like that. And then you can imagine that you try to put that on Facebook. Well, they're going to blow it up. And then you see it like that. And that's really kind of blurry, grainy, scratchy. So, you know, and then sometimes you move up from there. That one's a little bit better, the 640, but once again, it blows up a little bit, and you get a little bit of scratchiness. But the 640 is a little bit better than the 320, but you still get edges and things that, yeah, it could be better. You see a little pixelated edges here and there, and not quite a lot of detail. It kind of blurs things out because when you have those settings, it doesn't pick up everything that it possibly can. So, let me see. Then you move to the 800. It picks up a little bit more detail. But things are still a little blurry. And these, you know, I haven't edited them besides the putting of what size they were. But you know, as you move up, you start to gain more and more detail, but the size that it captures also gets bigger. But I noticed that means I can go in, and a lot of times I can zoom in a little bit better before it starts getting like really scratchy. Let me see. And then that one. And then, you know, you go up the ladder. Let me see, where's my custom one? My custom one, however, picks up the entire screen, and that's what you want to do is, you know, if you want to take ones that aren't as blurry, you need to put them on the higher settings. Like, I found out that the 1200 by 1280 by 1024 actually does pretty good. It captures a good amount if you don't want to put it to the full screen of Second Life kind of resolution. But I did what my friend told me to a lot of years ago. She told me just, you know, if I was going to try to take a bunch of pictures and, you know, do all that stuff with it, then, you know, set it by 3000 by 3000. And later, Firestorm reset that to 3000 by 1589. So, you know, depending on screen size and so on and so forth. But then also put, and you do this on custom, to where it then goes constrained proportions. You want to check that. You want to put on PNG lossless rather than JPEG or something. You can try BMP, but I know PNG just does, you know, a little bit better for my computer and everything. You can do whatever filters you want ahead of time if you want. It can make things interesting, like Matrix. And you get Matrix look. I don't usually play with the filters in here very much. I usually do all that stuff, you know, post-op. And in my version of okay, I cannot think today. My version of Photoshop. Okay, so that's basically that, to where you want those settings, and then they take much clearer pictures. And that's even with, you know, having my graphics on, what was it? Because these, I didn't even have my graphics on high. I had my graphics on like mid. And, you know, it still came out pretty good. You got all this detail. You can zoom in a lot closer. Because you see, that's how close I can zoom in before it starts getting pixelated, really. So, you know, that's kind of gives you an idea of what it is you can possibly even crop it down to before it really pixelates out. Okay, now let me see. And, you know, I'm trying to make sure that this doesn't run too long. But, so, yeah, that's what I wanted to cover, because I see like a lot of my friends, they don't always adjust what that is, and then they take these really great pictures that, you know, could be even better. So I would suggest one of these other settings if you don't want to set it for the full screen, because it will take a full picture like what's showing here, and then you might have to crop it. But if you're just wanting to take something in Second Life, I would suggest one of the lower settings that still, you know, pick up quite a bit of stuff. So that way, when the pictures are seen and blown out, they're either not itty-bitty or, you know, super pixelated, so that they come out really good. What I also wanted to cover was, let me see this, the way I was saying, like, everybody thought that, you know, like I did before, it had to do with graphics. Not entirely. I mean, the graphics do help. They add a lot more detail and definition actually, but mostly what they do is they change, shadow and such. And like here, when you put it on low, things start doing that, and you can see that the shadow comes out really funky. And I've made that problem before of having my shadow, my graphics too low, and then I couldn't see people's stuff right. When you bump it up one, it actually makes it so you can at least see things right. So between low and mid, that's actually really, if you want really low graphics, that's a good one to go with rather than going completely low. As you can see, the shadows keep changing every time I up it. From that to that. And that's just the detail stuff. Gets better every time you increase it. High, between high and mid. Right, high and ultra. I keep thinking about the mid-range because I usually keep my stuff on mid-range, but if I would take like really super good photographs, then I usually put it either between high and ultra or on ultra. But ultra does have its little glitches. Like instantly my my outfit decided to give an issue. My tattoo went away. And it's staying gone. Oh, thank you, Second Life. I'll have to fix that later. Let me see. Usually, just in case it does do that, here, I can actually close this one. Oh, I am just getting messaged today a lot. Because I tried to record this one a few different times, and I kept either getting messaged or something, so if this turns out a little longer than anticipated, that's probably because I've tried to record this about 4 different times, and it keeps coming out longer than what I expect, and with like little issues. So I kind of keep forgetting what it is I've covered and what I haven't, because when you've tried to do this 4 times, you kind of start going like, okay, where the hell did I leave off? But okay, this is ultra. And, a lot more detail, mostly a lot more shadowing, but I've noticed now this is on my 1 Omega head. I have the logo. This one isn't the actual Omega. This one's the logo Chloe. And it's fine. It's the normal one, but then it comes with an Omega version too. And as soon as I do the Omega version, the alpha around the eyelashes makes an issue when on ultra. So I end up having to bump it down to the regular high, which actually sometimes I like high better because it actually has more light and a little less shadow. The in-between's really good, but like what used to happen with me is my computer. Well, let me see how I put this. My laptop didn't always do these higher graphics very well without slowing down super low and lagging out, and sometimes nearly trying to crash me. So I ended up usually having to do all my photos at mid and maybe high at best, and it would be laggy as hell at high. And that always used to, upset me for the shadows. But if you have a computer that can do it, ultra is great. But the mid-range actually gives some pretty good photos too, and you end up with good amount of lighting, and you can always fix the lighting even more over in, Firestorm has this deal. It's Photo Tools. I know there's a version on the regular system version too. And you know, even with your wind light, you can adjust the time of day and night. You don't have to go by certain things. You can do your day cycle and the atmosphere, different settings, and those are just the shadows to where things can still come out really great, even on a mid-range graphic. So, you know, if you can't do Ultra, don't worry about it too much. Ultra's great, but, you know, if you can't, you can't. And sometimes I prefer not to, actually. Because let me see that, and then that, because it does darken it so much. What I did want to show was what difference it makes on certain types of sims. I just wanted to show that really quick if I can find that, because there was a particular sim I went to that shows that really good. Here it is, Sorrow. What? Oh, they took it away. Oh, dang. Too bad. Okay. Well, I can't show that anymore, apparently. That sucks because it was the perfect example. Because what it showed was like a water lake and the type of reflection you get. And with the lower settings, you don't get reflection from certain surfaces. Whereas with Ultra, that's what you get. You get the reflections. So, you know, if you're wanting reflections, then that's what you go for. But if you don't care for that, then, you know, just take a regular photo, how it is, and, you know, don't worry about it too much. Okay, and I will be posting these photos that kind of show like a gradual look of it, and then you can get an idea of, you know, the cat photo it takes, what you might want to go with. And these were all taken on the mid-range graphics. And then these ones actually show the different graphic progression from low to low mid, mid-range, high, high ultra, and ultra. Yeah, between high and ultra. And then the ultra. So that basically covers that. And that will be the end of today's bitch blog, which turned into more of a tutorial. So, alrighty, bye.